I'm Bill Jones, and welcome to VYPE TV, a show that highlights local athletes, their schools, and their communities. On today's show, the high school football playoffs continue. Tim Polzer is here to help preview some of today's best games. What does it take to rewrite history? We'll introduce you to one local coach who did it this week. We'll tell you about the Landry Award presentation and how you can be a part of it. And in this week's recruiting update, as Oklahoma plays Nebraska tonight in the Big 12 title game and TCU awaits its postseason fate, we'll talk local athletes that will play for those schools coming up here on VYPE TV. But let's start with the football playoffs. This week, it's the week of state quarterfinal play, the regional finals for Class 4A and 5A schools. There are some great games scheduled for today, and here to talk about them is Tim Polzer, editor-in-chief for VYPE Magazine. Thanks for being here as usual, Tim. We had some great games last night, including one right here on TXA 21, Coppell and Trinity. But let's get started today talking about the 5A matchup at Mansfield's Vernon Newsom Stadium, 2 o'clock this afternoon, a rematch from a District 7 5A matchup earlier this year. Denton Guyer takes on Southlake Carroll.
Yeah, Guyer ended Carroll's home winning streak the last week of the regular season. They obviously are not afraid of Carroll, but Carroll's really been gelling in the playoffs. They really kind of dominated a really good Abilene team last week, defending state champs. So I think you're going to see a closer game this week.
Yeah, when you look at the road to this point, the state quarterfinal matchup, Denton Guyer has blown through the competition. And like you say, Southlake Carroll has gotten better and better each week. The Guyer road includes a 55-7 win last week at Cowboy Stadium against Abilene Cooper, and J.W. Walsh continues to do the job for the Wildcats.
He is. He's a field general out there. He's a dual threat through the air, on the ground when they really need those yards. He just quarterback keeper. Josh Stewart's also had a great playoffs for them, whether it's on defense or as a receiver. He's just a real great playmaker.
You know, one of the keys also for Southlake Carroll is Clayton George, their offensive coordinator, decided about the 9th week of the season to start and convinced Hal Wasson to let's take these 2 cornerbacks that we have, let's play them a little bit on offense. And they have been big playmakers in the playoffs, including that guy, Sabian Holmes, right there, also starts a cornerback. That's been a key for this playoff run.
I think you're right. I think that might be a difference, too, when they play Guyer this time around, because that pair has really gelled in the playoffs. You see the big play there against Abilene. It really just gives that offense another dimension that they might have been lacking early on the regular season.
And Sean Hoagland is the other cornerback turned wide receiver. The road to this point for Carroll included a 38-24 win at Cowboy Stadium, which you just saw the highlights of, over the defending state champions from Abilene, which included Herschel Sims, who's headed to Oklahoma State and ran for over 200 yards in that game. Okay, moving on. Now, the winner of the Carroll-Guyer matchup will face the winner of this one, Longview, taking on Mesquite Horn. And they're going to play this outside the state of Texas, Tim, in Shreveport at Independence Stadium.
It is strange to hear that a Texas State playoff games be played in Louisiana, but there's always some great stories when it comes to deciding where games are going to be played. This is another rematch where these 2 teams played earlier this year. Horn really had 3 turnovers, I believe, so in a loss to Longview. But Longview's running back is out this week with the injury, so I wouldn't be surprised if Horn turns it around on Longview this week.
And Horn, a great story this season. In fact, their playoff run started with a first-round win over Copperas Cove, which many people thought would be the team to come out of this bracket, I think, in Region 2 or in Division 2.
Yeah, Copperas Cove has that great tradition. Mesquite Horn and Mesquite Poteet, 2 Mesquite teams that have really been Cinderella stories this year. It'd be really interesting to see both of them go on from this round.
All right, so Mesquite Horn looks to advance against Longview. Meanwhile, tonight we've got another big matchup as you look at what Longview has done so far to get to this point. And of course, Longview has a great tradition, but the next matchup in Class 5A has DeSoto against Round Rock Stony Point. This will be the toughest test so far for a DeSoto team that has really hit its stride in the playoffs.
Exactly. DeSoto, the defense threw out a shutout against Skyline 2 weeks ago, kind of came back to earth last week. But this is another rematch too for the regular season. DeSoto lost to Stony Point team early in September. They didn't have a particularly good game, so it'd be interesting to see if UTSA commit Ryan Polite and the offense can turn it around on Stony Point.
Yeah, Ryan Polite, the quarterback for DeSoto. We've talked about him throughout the season here on VYPE TV with David McNabb and why some schools aren't recruiting him. He kind of went unnoticed, but the big news this week for him is that he did commit to the Upstart program at UT San Antonio and head coach Larry Coker.
Yeah, 10,000 career passing yards is really hard to ignore. He's a good leader on the field. I'm not sure why some schools have shied away from him. That DeSoto offense and scheme really produces some big passing numbers, but this is his chance to shine this week.
And so it's a big week for the DeSoto Eagles, and those are the matchups in the Class 5A later today. You see, DeSoto has really put up some points. How about in the defense, too? The 38-0 shutout at Dallas Skyline a couple of weeks ago.
That's still surprising. Skyline's offense just really couldn't get started that week, but DeSoto's never been known for its defense.
All right, let's move on to Class 4A now. One of the powers from this area had a huge win last week. Denton Ryan winning over Waco Midway, a previously unbeaten opponent. And now you talk about a rematch from a district matchup earlier. They play Wichita Falls Rider in Denton.
Again, Ryan beat Rider the regular season. Folks from Rider probably think that, well, we had a bad game too, so maybe we can turn it around on Ryan. But Ryan's defense is really rolling this time of the year, really carrying that team.
And, of course, Ryan's defense is led by big number 17, the junior defensive end, Mario Edwards. There's his dad, Mario Edwards Sr., the former Dallas Cowboy and assistant coach this year for the Denton Ryan Raiders. And Johnny Paramore had the key play last week against Waco Midway with a 60-yard interception return for a touchdown. There are playmakers all over that Denton Ryan defense.
There is, and they've kind of flown under the radar. I've even had people at Denton Geyer who try to convince me that Ryan's going to win a state championship all year. So they're well known in Denton, that's for sure.
You know, if defense wins championships, then Denton Ryan has a very good chance in Class 4A. And Mesquite Poteet is taking on Bastrop later today as well. And you talk about those Mesquite schools. Poteet has come through huge, especially last week when they knocked off Highland Park in rather convincing fashion. They play 2 o'clock this afternoon at Waco ISD against Bastrop.
Yep, Poteet coming off the 1-19 record over the last 2 years, been a really surprise team, but they really broke through with that win against Highland Park. They're playing a tough Bastrop team that really took apart a really good Frisco Liberty team last week. So we'll see if Poteet's dream season continues.
And you see, Poteet, you talk about great stories. First to win over the Hutto Hippos, and then their third playoff win over Highland Park, which was a previously unbeaten team.
That was a really good Highland Park team, and Poteet came in there in the Cowboy Stadium and acted like they'd been there before. So it was a surprising win.
All right, the championship games are being played today as well. The Texas Association of Private and Parochial Schools, also known as TAPS. Today's championship games include this one in Division 4, Colleyville Covenant Christian taking on Shiner St. Paul. That game to start at noon today in Killeen. Meanwhile, in Division 2, it's Fort Worth Christian with an 11-2 record on the season, taking on Dallas Parish Episcopal and their 12-1 record. That's also a noon start in Temple. Fort Worth, or rather 7 o'clock in Temple. Fort Worth Nolan taking on Prestonwood Christian. That's in Division 1. And that Fort Worth Nolan Viking team unbeaten on the season, 14-0, taking on 11-2 PCA. Some good matchups in the private schools that don't get a whole lot of recognition through the season, but they deserve it.
We do. At VYPE, we try to cover the private schools because they're very hungry for coverage. They got some great athletes, some great programs. You're looking at PCA and Nolan, for instance, those 2 defending champs from last year. PCA has moved up, so it was quite a clash for that championship game.
All right, Tim Polzer, VYPE Magazine. You can catch Tim each week here on VYPE TV. And also, there's great stuff, as usual, every month in VYPE Magazine. Coming up next here on VYPE TV, a local coach's performance has rewritten history this week. We'll give you all the details. And later, we'll show you how the very first Landry Award trophy was created. Texas girls basketball coach has been on the verge of history this season. Granbury's Lita Andrews came into the week 1 win away from tying the national record for most wins by a high school basketball coach, and she's proving that gender doesn't matter when it comes to winning. Here's TXA 21's Carroll.
It's just been unbelievable.
Come on, you got to take it strong.
Lady Pirates coach Lita Andrews is expected to win the game soon that'll make history.
I still can't believe it. I can't believe it to this day.
And to make her the winningest high school basketball coach ever.
You're running one.
Men's or women's.
People say, well, do you think about it? No, I do not think about it.
The city of Granbury expected it last year.
My name's on the water tower. Did you see it?
They painted the water tower with her name on it, thinking she'd break the record then. It's hard to believe Andrews once thought of another career.
I thought I would grow up to be a Dolly Parton.
Andrews has been coaching 49 years now.
You better not be able to look down at that ball.
And at 73, still handles a ball like she's 17.
It's those two fingers that guide the ball.
The question is, once she reaches her game-winning goals, will she retire?
I work with people, they talk about retirement, and to me, they've already retired. So to me, I don't ever go there. I don't give it the time of day. That's Linda.
Andrews continued her winning ways while raising a family. She says success in anything comes with hard work, and she's done plenty of that. So once she does reach her goal, she'll make time to celebrate.
I'm going to get a massage and go to Disney World. I think I'm going to need it. They gave us a country whipping.
And on Thursday, Coach Andrews did make history. She and the Lady Pirates beat Denton 55-44 in the first round of the Fort Worth ISD Cowtown Classic Tournament. That gave Coach Andrews win number 1,333. That tied her with legendary Fort Worth Dunbar boys coach Robert Hughes and put Coach Andrews in position to break that record this weekend. More wins than any high school basketball coach in history, not just locally or throughout the state of Texas. It means she has won more than any coach in the nation. What an incredible accomplishment, and congratulations to her and the Granbury Lady Pirates. Coming up next on VYPE TV, our resident recruiting expert David McNabb joins us. We'll talk about local football players who are being recruited by some big universities. And later, we'll let you know how you can attend the first ever Landry Awards ceremony and meet some local legends.
The November issue of VYPE High School Sports Magazine breaks down our list of the area's top 20 running backs, as well as which area football teams may make a run to a state title. You'll also find an inside look at prolotherapy, a high school athlete's alternative to surgery, and a look back at Highland Park's state team tennis title. Get your free copy of the November VYPE High School Sports Magazine on racks today.